Okay, so the principles of play is what we're going to talk about today. And if you don't know what the principles of play are, it basically talks about, or I'm going to certainly talk about it in 4 moments of the game. So principles of play really are, so how do we want to play football? And how do we want to show up in certain moments? And I tend to look at it through the lens of the 4 big moments of the game. So when we're attacking, when we're defending, our transitions from defense to attack, and our transitions from attack to defense. So there's 4 big moments in the game there, and I think to have an idea or a plan of how you'd like your team to play during those moments and the ideas you'd like them to have is really, really important. So I'm going to talk through some of them today, and I'm going to start with attacking. And I've just jotted out some example principles that you might have during these 4 phases. The first one I've got for attacking, and that's the first subject we're going to talk about. So when we're attacking as a team, how do I want us to show up? And one of the big things that we'd want is to have a lot of width. So I've set up the board here in a 4-2-3-1, but the idea being that when we've got the ball, we're nice and wide, and that's horizontally across the pitch, that we're really stretching the opposition, because they will probably show up in a compact block, say something like that. That's the area of the pitch that the opposition will be in defensively, because they're trying to make you play in a small area, whereas we're trying to use the entirety of the pitch. So using the full pitch, being really, really wide, having lots of width, allows us to, one, try and disrupt the opposition block, and two, it gives us the ability to switch play really quickly and get around the block if we need to, and can do that way. Second principle, or second thing I'd want us to look at, is depth. So vertically, how much are we stretching up the pitch? And I've talked about in previous videos the principles of width and depth being really, really important. We've talked about width, but depth is something that often doesn't get spoken about a lot. Can we stretch the opposition? So again, if they're showing up in sort of a block this size, can we force that block backwards? And the importance of the number 9 here is huge. Can they stretch that back line towards their own goal? Because then that opens up lots and lots of space for us to play in, and opens up gaps between the lines, hopefully. So we're stretching them width-wise, horizontally, and we're stretching them vertically as well to get depth. Okay, so those 2 things are really, really important. In my principles of play, when we're attacking, we need width and we need depth. They're 2 things we really look at. Second point is, can we play forwards, right? So whenever we get the ball, have we got the ball? Football is an invasion game, and we want to play forwards as quickly as possible, right? So we need to get yards. I talk about the idea of yards quite a lot. Can we get up the pitch and have our passers got intent? So if we are passing sideways or looking to switch the play and come out one side, is that with the intent to play forwards? Because we've had to come around a block to then get the ability to play forwards and get through the lines. So play forwards whenever we can play forwards to get yards. And the other principle of playing forwards is actually, can we drive with the ball? So if you're not being pressed, drive with the ball, get forward. And you'll see centre-backs do this quite a bit now, is that they will drive with the ball forwards, and that will commit other defenders towards them and open up space elsewhere. So either way, whether we pass forwards or we drive forwards, that's the principle. If you can do, if there's space to play into, play the ball. If there's space to drive into, drive into it. If we can't play forwards or we can't drive forwards, then again, that principle, we switch play with intent to then play forwards or drive forwards. So we only ever play sideways with the ambition to play forwards as quickly as possible, or to drive forwards as quickly as possible. And finally, with attacking, can we get players into 1v1 situations? So can I drive a pass forwards into this winger here, get them into a 1v1 situation, and then give that winger the confidence that if they do get into that situation, attack your player, attack that player, beat them. If you do beat them, then another player is going to have to come and provide cover, which creates an overload elsewhere. So we're being really, really aggressive in our attacking play. Play forwards, drive forwards, switch play if we can't do that to then achieve that. And then can we get players in 1v1 situations to attack high up the pitch? Okay, so they would be sort of loosely my principles of play in an attacking sense. Next, we're looking to transition to defend. So this is when we've been attacking and we've lost the ball. What happens next? This right back here has won the ball from our left winger. Okay, so what happens next? So first question I would ask is, can we win the ball back quickly? And that means, have we got players around the ball? So if we've got a situation like this, where we're a little bit higher, that right back has won the ball here. Do we think there's a chance that we can win that ball quickly? Can we counter press? If the answer is yes, then we get bodies around that ball and we back them up to be able to win that ball. Because you've got to think about, it's not the person on the ball that you've got to think about. They might play through that pressure quite quickly. We've got to back them up and come into these areas, and we've got to get nice and compact so that it's congested on the second and the third phase of that press, because they might play through it. Okay, so if we're committing to the fact and the question of yes, we can win the ball back quickly, then the back line needs to come up. All the players need to compact, cut out passing lanes, and surround the ball and commit to it to try and win the ball back. If we can't win the ball back quickly, and our decision is that, and this is where communication is really important, that actually this right back has won the ball, he's got away from the left winger, it's dangerous to go and commit in ones and twos to win that ball back, then the principle is we get into our shape, we get compact. So I'm just going to do that quickly. This player's coming goal side of the ball, our midfield's coming across, and we're getting nice and compact. And the striker's probably putting a little bit of early pressure on. But we've got across the pitch, we've got ball side, we're getting goal side, and we're squeezing the space in between the lines, so there's not much space to play there. The principle is we haven't been able to win the ball back quickly. Can we win the ball back? No. Right, we just get our shape. We squeeze both horizontally and vertically, and we create a compact block to make it difficult for the opposition to play through us and do that quickly. Okay, so that's very, very basics of my principles. Transition towards defending, those two things. Then we talk about defending. So now we are defending. The transition has happened. The opposition have got comfortable possession. What are our principles when we're committed to defending and we haven't got the ball? First thing is to be really, really compact. Okay, so when I say compact, I talk about not much space between the lines. So I'm just going to put us into a low block here in a 4-4-2. I'm just going to put us into a low block here in a 4-4-2. So those players all come back. So you can see their low block, we're compact. And I'd want us to be either ball side. So where is the ball? If it's centrally, we're okay as we are. If it's in the right back area or the right wing area, we're shifting across. We're really, really compact width-wise. So we're coming right across the pitch. And we're really, really compact vertically. So there's no space in between the lines to play. And then that block would shift with the ball. So if they come centrally, we come here. If they come left side, we come here. And we're shifting and we're just delaying. And that's another principle, is I'd want us to delay the opposition as much as possible, slow them down, make the play predictable. You don't always have to tackle and physically win the ball to get the ball back. If you delay, slow the play right down, make it predictable, the opposition will give you the ball back. They'll either make a mistake or they'll kick the ball out of play. Something will happen that gives you the ball back. The follow-up to that principle for me would be we don't force the action. If we're committed to defending, we don't force the action. We don't force and commit to a tackle if it's not there. We wait for an opportunity to win the ball back. That could be a pressing trigger. So there's a mistake on the ball. They've played to a certain player that we've isolated as someone that we're going to press, or they've played a backwards pass and then we can press on that, or a loose pass, or a particularly passive sideways pass maybe that we can go and press on and get on and win the ball back, or the opposition's had a loose touch that we can then go and try and get the body and tackle, win the ball. They would be my principles for us defending. Really, really simple. and then our transition to attack. So when I talk about this, I mean we've been defending, we've now won the ball back. We're probably not in an advantageous situation because we're quite deep, we're quite compact. We're going to have to think about how we get the ball up the pitch. And think about this in your training as well. Like, a lot of the time we start training drills in a really advantageous situation. You need to think about the phase of play before that. And like we were probably defending before we got the ball, and we're probably in positions that our wingers don't want to be in, our wing backs don't want to be in, our central midfielders are probably quite deep, right? So we need to really think about what we do next. My first principle when we transition into attack would be, can we play forwards? So if the ball is here with our left back, dummy situation, they've just won the ball back from their right winger. Straight away, my question to them is, can you play forwards? Can they play straight through the lines there, maybe into a striker here? Okay, first thing that does is that gets us into the middle third of the pitch. I would then be asking this striker, if they're getting pressure on the back, can they play an up, back and through, really? So can they play into support? This left winger's tucked in to offer support there, and then we're just playing higher up the pitch. So there's two parts to that, and I've talked about this already in the video. Can we play forwards? Or secondly, if this left back has got space to drive into here, which we can see, can they drive forwards into that gap and get us up the pitch? So we're just trying to get yards. Our initial thought is, how do we get yards and get further up the pitch in a sustainable fashion, right? So can we play the ball or can we drive with the ball? The second bit is the attacking principles, right? We want to get wide and high. So our players need to think about stretching the pitch now. If this player has driven into this space here, okay, great. So that allows this left winger to drive forward. That's going to push their right back. This number 9 is probably running behind the 10 because they've come in and offered for the ball here. And then our centre midfielders will either be offering support because there'll probably be pressure on the ball here, or trying to force the play forwards to manipulate these centre midfielders. But ultimately, we're trying to get yards, we're trying to get wide, and we're trying to instill our attacking principles that we've spoken about already into what is quite a defensive shape that we've started with. If we can't pass forwards or we can't drive forwards, then we need to look at maintaining the ball and keeping the ball. And it might be that this left back has driven forwards there. The red team have done a good job of stopping the progress. This centre half might come underneath the ball here to come and support. The goalkeeper would become an option. And then we're looking to see, can we play out? Can we hold on to the ball? And again, those attacking principles, we don't want to be too passive. We want, as soon as we can play forward or drive forward, we do it. And we get up the pitch and we look to hurt the opposition. And these are personal to me, but we're aggressive in our way that we play football. So that was a whistle-stop tour of my principles of play, or certainly loosely, without thinking about it too much, what my principles of play would be through the 4 phases of the game. We've looked at attacking, defending, transition to defend, and transition to attack. And I hope that was useful. Thank you for watching.